them during the conference. We have a special session for them on the 12th of November, the Friday morning. So let's hear it from Engineer Marambe. Who's
Thank you, Engineer Grace Kagondu. Good morning, team.
First time the Women Engineers Summit was being held. And for us as women engineers, why must we attend the Women Engineers Summit? Why must we also attend the conference? Firstly, it's about friendship. You get to meet engineers internationally, domestically, locally, and this is really an opportunity for us as the women engineers to network with the speakers in the industry, share and collaborate on real-time experiences, and really our topic for the Women Engineers Summit is the power of diversity. Why is diversity an important topic? Firstly, the ability for a nation to provide a growing economy, strong health and human services, and a secure and safe nation depends on a vibrant, creative, and diverse engineering and science workforce that better refers to collective experiences about its own country. In other words, what have the women engineers learned in terms of diversity? How can we improve diversity at the workplace so that, depending on the project teams we have, how can we really work together in a diverse environment where engineers have different views? How do we categorize diversity? Some will look at it from a sexual orientation, others will look at it from ethnicity, others will look at it from age, others will look at it from discipline. But at the end of the day, I always say that engineering is not just a man's world. I believe diversity means representation across a wide range of traits, backgrounds, and experiences. When we engage and connect with engineers and co-workers with different perspectives from our own, we can successfully achieve our overall goals. What are these overall goals? Women engineers face internal and external challenges, and sometimes it is difficult to sort out which is which. Is it an issue of work balance from a diversity perspective? Is it an issue of how we retain our women engineers? Or is it an issue of even when they're being employed? Are they being employed because somebody has sat somewhere and said 30% has to be a specific gender? Or is it about their competency? So as we go through our Women Engineers Summit, the women engineers are actually going to be talked to, encouraged on how they can develop and compete, how they can secure specific jobs. Apart from that, how they can be retained. So some of the thematic areas that we have looked at that will address the lack of diversity in our summits are diversity as an agenda, retention strategies, best practices in organizational intervention, diversity in engineering matters and policies that support inclusion, and lastly, capacity building. So apart from the presentation on that day, we will also have a cocktail. And during this cocktail, this will be an opportunity for the women engineers again to mingle and network and to share experiences. Life must be lived forward, but can only be understood backwards. It must be lived forward increasingly. In other words, contributing to increasing diversity and competitiveness. So, as we look at this one-day event, we are going to have an awards gala on the last day of the conference, where the women engineers are going to be awarded 10. We have 10 awards for the women engineers. And as the chair of WEC, I just felt that as much as I've done so much for the women engineers, it would not be fair for me at my level, even as a council member, to try and compete with the young engineers. When you are giving an award, it is an opportunity to actually get to know those women engineers or engineers who have excelled, who we don't know about, so that we are encouraging new faces. So for me, I really look at having, the women engineers inspired. And beyond that, I want to thank the conference committee for supporting the Women Engineers chapter, and I look forward to a successful Women Engineer Summit, which will be held on 8th of November at Pride Inn in Mombasa. Thank you.
So we may look at it from different angles, and the most immediate thing that is obvious is that you get to network. Now, in the modern world, and the network is an asset. If you're a young person dreaming to be an entrepreneur, for example, you can actually start your business through a network. We've always been taught that you need capital to start a business, but in the modern world, you actually need networks, because from those networks, you're able to raise your capital. If you're an engineer, from the networks, you're able to get new projects. If you're looking for anything in the current world, you need to collaborate. So the biggest win for that I would convince anybody to make their time to come to the conference is the networking. The other thing is mentorship. We have students in primary school, in university, we have the younger graduate engineers. When you come to this conference, you have an opportunity to be mentored either on the global scale or even one-to-one interactions. Perhaps you have an engineer you've been looking up to. We are living in the global virtual world where perhaps you've been seeing somebody on LinkedIn, you've been seeing somebody on Twitter with their great ideas. With such a conference, you have a chance to get face-to-face mentorship, and you're able to really get first-hand interaction with this person that you've been dreaming to meet. We are your leaders in the engineering fraternity. Will be present at the conference. It's a time for us to talk about our policies, to really raise your issues directly to the leaders. What would you like us to address? It's also an opportunity for us as leaders to give you feedback and update you where we are. Our conference is also going to be graced by high-level leadership. So again, as engineers, you cannot talk about a sustainable economic recovery without having the engineers. When you talk about the economy, engineers are paramount. We are the ones dealing with utilities. We are the ones dealing with infrastructure. We are dealing with your hospital infrastructure. So you cannot, every day when you wake up from the morning to the evening, everything around you is engineering. So we cannot talk about sustainable economic recovery without thinking about the engineers. So this is an opportunity for the country leadership, the top leadership, county leadership, all of them to engage engineers, and really we can work together. We've had sad incidences, the most recent being the Buruburu Girls fire incidents. If you think about it, as engineers, we have a role to play to make sure the public is safe and that all spaces that we come up with are safe. So really this is an opportunity for us to discuss all this, and I can go on and on, but basically what I'm trying to say is this is a good chance to come and see the new technologies. We've also been in the year of COVID, where we've been working in something that is being famously called GVTs, Global Virtual Teams. One thing that has been said, when you work on your digital screen, you lack the emotional energy that you get by engaging with people face to face. So this conference offers you an opportunity to team up with your colleagues face to face reboost your emotional energy that maybe will run you for the next 6 months or so. So it's quite an important thing. And if you're an engineer, you get to earn your CPDs. And again, it's Mombasa. You get a chance to swim, you get a chance to relax. So I really welcome everybody to come to this conference, to the companies that deal with technical. It's a very good conference that comes once in a year. I forgot to say something about women engineers. I'm a woman, so I cannot go without talking about the women engineers. It's been said the theme is the power of diversity. So diversity is about differences, and when you tap into differences and various things like different groups, different age groups, different genders, different abilities, you're able to design an infrastructure that is all inclusive. So when you talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, the Women's Conference is quite a key player in ensuring we have inclusion and gender mainstreaming. So I wish to welcome everybody. Let's meet in Mombasa. At this juncture, I want to welcome our president, who is going to give...
Innovation. We carry out technical audits of projects and advisory services for the public. We also nominate members to undertake arbitration. We also have nomination slots on public bodies. We also participate in corporate social initiatives and activities across the country. We have a huge branch layout from Coast Branch to Western, the branch, Central Branch, and South Rift. We recently launched the Capital Branch, which is headquartered in Nairobi. The program we have ahead of us for the 28th IEK Annual International Conference, which we have themed Engineers Accelerating Sustainable Economic Recovery, from the 8th to 12th November at Pride in Paradise Beach Resort in Mombasa, is going to be a hybrid one. We have physical delegates who are going to converge in Mombasa, obeying all the Ministry of Health protocols. Then we have the virtual attendance. We expect over 3,000 participants to take part in this conference. On the first day, as you've been told, we have the precursor of the conference, a Women Engineers Conference, whose theme is the power of diversity. And we urge all our women engineers, the young people who are interested in STEM and who are also keen to take up engineering, to ensure that they take part in this Women Engineers Conference. The ones who are not able to be physically in Mombasa, we've made special facilitation for you also to join us virtually, as you've been told. The Women Engineers Conference will also be a hybrid event. We have lined up a huge variety of keynote speakers to open the conference on Tuesday, 9th of November 2021. His Excellency the President, the Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, will be the chief guest. And to close the conference on Friday, 12th November 2021, the former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, will come to close the conference. Right Honorable Raila Odinga is an engineer, and is a fellow member of the Institution of Engineers of Kenya. So our event will feature other distinguished keynote speakers from the President of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, Professor Dr. Konge. We also will be having the immediate past President of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, Dr. Malin Kanga. And we also have the pressing humanity brought about by COVID-19 pandemic that has affected the whole world. We'd also like to show appreciation that engineers and other scientists are being looked upon to generate impactful, sustainable solutions to boost economic recovery. And that's why our theme for this year's conference is Engineers Accelerating Sustainable Economic Recovery. We also would like to conceptualize of sustainable solutions for economic recovery and prosperity within the broader national agenda. We also will share valuable knowledge and networking among engineers and other professionals in the world of science and technology. This will provide a platform to nurture young engineers and women engineers. We have a whole range of sub-themes, starting from engineers in policy formulation, planning, economic recovery, engineering education, research and development, the Big Four Agenda and Vision 2030, the fourth Industrial Revolution and Industry 4, which will include smart cities and artificial intelligence infrastructure. We also have a program for Young Engineers Summit, which will be held on Friday with the theme, Young Engineers Using Technology for Economic Recovery. Our expected outcomes at the end of the conference is learning something new, gaining more knowledge and concepts beneficial to professional growth while harnessing worthy ideas for implementation. With this networking opportunity, engineers will build new relationships, link up with old classmates, and meet new contacts, to grow business with vendors and expand their range of opportunities. We also look forward to becoming an expert by gaining more expertise in your field and develop new ideas on ways to improve on your job. Gaining inspiration, meet other accomplished engineers as the distinguished leaders in various fields. Personal and corporate gain, bring valuable and helpful information to the organization where the various delegates work and those that they associate with. We also look forward to partner with our sponsors. People who are free to showcase the wares in the engineering field, people involved in construction materials, people sharing the construction technology are quite welcome to showcase their products to our members during the conference. So the institution looks forward to have a very successful conference, and I'll take this chance to welcome all of you, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you at the Pride Inn Hotel in Mombasa. Those who can manage physically, we encourage you to come. Those who have challenges and would like to join us virtually, we also encourage you to join us. So we're looking forward to have the 2021 IK International Conference, which is the 28th session of these conferences, to be very successful. And we appeal upon you, members of the Fourth Estate, to publicize this information throughout the whole country so that people are made aware that this important function is happening, is going to happen in Mombasa.
Thank you very much. What we expect to address at the conference is the theme, Engineers Accelerating Sustainable Economic Recovery. As I had said earlier, the development of infrastructure in anywhere is done by engineers. So we expect during the conference to address some of the challenges that the country has faced because of the COVID-19 pandemic, come up with solutions, and then put them in a form of resolutions, which we as engineers in the country will undertake, that we are going to concentrate and ensure that they are implemented to ensure that the country moves forward at an accelerated rate. We expect to get these ideas from the keynote speakers that we've invited. They are international keynote speakers, have said. The president of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, Professor Dr. Konke, is from China. The immediate past president of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, Dr. Malin Kanga, is from Australia. The president of the Federation of Africa Engineering Organizations, Engineer Kalian Bochet Did, is from Ghana. And we have our very own senior engineers. We expect presentations from the Director Generals of all the engineering infrastructure agencies, starting from the road authorities to the energy sector, to share with us the challenges, make proposals to us. We need to discuss this and have a very clear resolution. What we are going to do as engineers in this country to take this country forward. So the achievement of the conference is supposed to move us as a country forward to accelerate our development. In addition to that, as I already explained, many of our members are very busy people. So the conference and the choice of the venue gives them a chance also to relax. We've also, as explained to you, set up programs, social programs, of course, obeying the COVID-19 Ministry of Health protocols to help our members meet, network, make friends, establish new conducts, so that when we leave the conference as an engineering fraternity, we would have known each other slightly better. We're also looking forward, after sharing the various ideas that are happening all over the world, we expect that all of us will be brought up to speed with what is the international best practice at the end of the conference. So that's why we are urging all our members, all the engineers in Kenya, to ensure that they are participate in the conference. This is an annual event, and if you miss this one, you'll have to wait another year to get this chance. We also give all our members who attend the conference 25 continuous professional development units, which you are required to achieve to get your license renewed. Those who attend the Women Engineers Conference will get 6 continuous professional development units, which will go towards helping them get their licenses renewed for 2022. So those are the major benefits that we are offering our people. We have identified relaxation programs, as I also been explained to you. There is the golf tournament for our members to participate in, those who play golf. Those who want to start playing golf are encouraged particularly to also participate. There is the social initiatives that we are going to undertake. Actually, the proceeds from the golf tournament, the organizers have donated that to the Coast Branch to identify a program will make some social impact on where this money will be used to help the disadvantaged members of our society, at least to prepare and have a good Christmas this year. Thank you very much.
You've left out nurturing programs encouraging women engineers. Can you capture that?
We have, through the Young Engineers chapter, identified the students who are undertaking engineering to make presentations on Friday, the last day of the conference. These students who will be attending the conference, both physically and virtually, will have a chance to meet possible mentors. We'll have a chance to identify with senior engineers, people they probably encounter on social media, people probably they will not have another chance to meet. So we have these mentorship programs to help identify these young people, give them a chance, show them what the senior members of their profession are doing, and help them accelerate their development into participating in the development of this country as a professional engineers. The other program is to encourage our women engineers to come on board, those who are undertaking engineering training, to ensure that they remain in the profession, to ensure they also identify young girls to go through the STEM courses and end up doing engineering courses at our institutions of higher learning, to be able to take up engineering courses. Women have special skills, and it is not that they are competing men. Their role in engineering is very clear. There's a big gap that is missing. So we expect to encourage as many of them as possible to take up engineering courses. And this country and the whole world will be a better place, even if we have more women doing engineering courses.
You can drop the question one more time.
Yeah, you mentioned about the incident of Uhuru. So I wanted you maybe to talk about if you are experiencing the challenges of incompetent engineers, or in other words, squads.
Okay.
And how are you dealing with the situation?
Maybe the collapse of buildings around town.
Okay. So I just start talking. You see, this is the mic. So thank you once again. Lately in the country, there's a lot of incidents of buildings collapsing, which is a risk to the safety of the public. The most recent is Buruburu Girls, and what we as engineers and leaders in engineering would like to urge the public. We have building standards, we have building codes, we have competent engineers that need to be engaged in all your projects. So to the public, as you put up your projects, what we would like to call upon is that you ensure you engage certified, registered, and qualified engineers. There are easy ways of proving that. We have the Engineers Board of Kenya that has a website with all the qualified and certified engineers, registered engineers listed. So for instance, if you're a developer and you want to put up a building, if you want to be sure that the consultants you're engaging are qualified, then you can go to the website of EBK and check. Because when you engage registered engineers, you have a chance to raise up your concerns if really it's an engineer who was involved. So therefore, what we would call upon the public is to make sure you get your designs approved. As the project goes on, if you engaged an engineer to make your designs, involve them in the whole of the project. Sometimes developers will use our services at the beginning. You get your approvals and you forget about the engineer and you let your foreman and your technicians go on. However, it is safer if your development is inspected at every stage by a qualified engineer. Make sure you're getting right materials. When you talk about your electricity, you talk about your pumps, your mechanicals in the house. It's all about engineering. And one thing that we need to sensitize the public, we are all called engineers, but we have different disciplines. So do not just engage a civil engineer and say your project has a full engineer, because the civil engineer focuses on the safety and the structure of your house. If I'm a mechanical engineer, I will focus on your mechanical designs to make sure you get the right sizing of the pump. Make sure if you have 3 stairs, floors up, you get a pump that is able to deliver your water to upstairs. So as engineers, we want to put this language in the most simple way that you can understand. So if you involve us as laymen in your developments, we are able to tell you, my specialty is structural. I'll look at the strength or integrity of your building. You need an electrical engineer to make sure you're using genuine cable. You're using the right sizing if it's your contactors, as we call them in the MCBs in your consumer unit. If you get the wrong sizing, you move into your house and it blows up. So what we need to tell the public is, you have the technicians who are the hands-on executors, but then you need the expertise of the engineer who does the designing, the sizing, and more so for your safety. Because when you get wrong engineering designs from scratch, then you're compromising on your own safety. If you're building a house that is worth 70 or 30 million, I don't think it's a lot to have to pay an engineer a certain proportion so that your building is safe forever, rather than cutting shortcuts and having someone who is not qualified and you get things quickly fixed and then it becomes a disaster. So talking about Buruburu, I believe the investigations will be done. All designs need to have safe fire exits in case of an incident. Safety is considered. It's part of our designs as engineers. So if you miss out in engaging us, those are some of the things that you're likely to miss out. So I do not want to play a case of the devil's advocate, but it is good to see whether engineers were involved in the building, and if they were, the Engineers Board of Kenya is there to deal with it. But even before that happens, is to encourage the public to really engage qualified people who will make sure your spaces are safe, your water is safe, because a lot of people in Nairobi are also drinking polluted water. So engage experts to tell you about the quality of everything you're consuming, your utilities, the infrastructure, and everything.
Thank you.
Okay.